Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal, and you're watching The Mojo Story. Over the past month or so, we've been seeing dramatic political developments in Pakistan. Imran Khan was ousted, and a new prime minister has taken the office, Shehbaz Sharif. Now, Imran's exit took place as a result of the vote of no confidence motion. All the political parties, the opposition parties at that point in time came together, and that led to the removal of Imran Khan as the Prime Minister of Pakistan. But since then, Imran Khan has been going about doing rallies, huge rallies across Pakistan, and he's really set a narrative that he has been ousted as a result of a conspiracy, a foreign conspiracy. And that's the narrative that he is really paddling around in Pakistan, and he's meeting people, and he is really sticking to that. But since Shehbaz Sharif took over as the prime minister, there has been a meeting, a parliamentary security meeting, wherein that letter or that cable was discussed, and it was again reiterated that that it stands by the minutes of the first meeting, and there has been a foreign intervention, if not a conspiracy. To discuss more on this, we're joined by an eminent panel. We're joined from Pakistan by Imtiaz Alam, who's a senior journalist. We're joined by Hussain Nadim, a political analyst, and from India, we're joined by Commodore Uday Bhaskar. If I can start with you, Dr. Hussain Nadim, last time when we spoke, it was the day of vote of no confidence, a motion when that was dismissed by the speaker at that point in time. Since then, many developments have taken place. Now, Imran Khan clearly sticking to that narrative that he was removed uh, 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 as a result of a foreign conspiracy, the letter that he famously waved in that huge public rally in Lahore. What's the sense that you get? Is that narrative really working on the ground?
Thank you so much, and a pleasure to be here. Indeed, the last time I was here, the no confidence motion was quashed by the Deputy Speaker of the Assembly. And since then, what has happened really is that the thing has gone, and I mentioned this last time as well, that this is being played at three different levels. There is an electoral angle, there is a political angle, and then there is the perception and the narrative angle at the moment. Uh, what has happened in the past couple of weeks is that, especially during the time of chaos, that the ex prime minister was not really concerned about the political side of things. He was trying to capture the narrative space that was there. Uh, Before this entire fiasco happened, Prime Minister Imran Khan had lost considerably a lot of approval rate from the public, and even from his own party supporters and his party members. But what has happened since then is that he's been able to very carefully mobilize his own constituency, which is now very much charged because the conversation has moved away from his performance and away from his 3 and 4 years of rule that he was there to now this whole narrative of freedom, independence, which is basically his forte. What he's presenting to the public and his support base is that this is much more about Pakistan's independence, selling them a big picture and a big idea. Now, I'm not saying this is not a normative statement. I'm not saying that this is good or bad, this is true or not. What I'm saying is that he's been very, very effective in terms of bringing the narrative from the performance element to now an element of a foreign conspiracy, of independence, of sovereignty. And in Pakistan, if you understand this thing, that Pakistan essentially has two deep narratives of this country. One narrative is that the Pakistan is the public narrative is essentially that Pakistan is the guardian of Islamic principles and some morality and all of that. The other narrative is that Pakistan is a victim of foreign conspiracies. And part of this is because in the early years of Pakistan, it was had problems from both in east and west side of the borders. So these two narratives are very deeply embedded in the Pakistani state, society, and structure. So what Imran Khan is now doing is basically he's playing on those two exact narratives. He's presented himself as the champion against Islamophobia, and he's also presented himself as somebody who's now a victim of this whole foreign conspiracy. Now, the reason why this actually resonates with the public is because these are the two very strong historical narratives of the Pakistani state. And I think that is one of the reasons why he's been able to have a very charged support base. I'm not sure whether he's able to win the new votes, but I'm pretty sure that he has been able to mobilize his party very
Yeah.
effectively and the vote as well.
Yeah, and there are reports that his popularity has really scaled up. But he's also demanded that there should be an early election, and he's given a call, Islamabad Chalo March call, and he's not given a date for that, but he's asked his supporters to be ready, and he will do that in a few weeks' time. Imtiaz Alam, do you see this momentum really picking up here on, or it's going down from here on, or you think Imran Khan will be able to sustain it and ultimately bring out lakhs of people to Islamabad and halt the entire government machinery?
I think Imran Khan will try to sustain it by fueling his conspiracy theory and raising the banner of patriotism. But my assessment is that he will be exhausting the stream in the coming weeks. He will not be able to keep the momentum because in the initial stage there was anger, a fallen hero, a messiah thrown out of power that was shocking to his followers. Coupled with this theory, in Pakistan, anti-Americanism is very popular, and Imran Khan was mixing up nationalism with religion as well. So he got a quite big response from his followers. But that doesn't mean that his opponents are sleeping now. They don't want to confront him at the moment. They want his stream to be exhausted or released. And his demand for early elections it will be gaining some strength, but it will not be possible because under our constitution we have to have a new census of population, which will be completed by December this year, and by April, the new redemarcation of constituencies on the basis of the new census will take place. This is what the Election Commission of Pakistan has said now, after it received a report from the Statistical Department that new census will be completed by the end of this year. So uh, there were objections about the previous census. Even if Imran Khan pushes it, elections will not be possible, uh, say, in the next 3-4 months as he is demanding. And the opposition would like that his stream exhausts and his tempo is lowered or weakened so that they could go out for elections. There is no difference in the holding of elections. This government, I don't think, is going to complete the remaining tenure of this assembly. They will have to go for uh, elect, uh, elections before time.
Right. We saw those pictures of huge, people coming out on roads in large numbers. When Imran Khan gave the call first, if we can have that video and we can play that, there was such a massive gathering, and in fact, Imran Khan had himself tweeted that video of people in large numbers on the roads and really, singing the national anthem. But besides this narrative and the momentum about it, there is one confusion here, really, which one needs to understand. Imran Khan, on one hand, says that he wants early election, but on the other hand, Imran Khan says that he doesn't have confidence in the chief election commissioner. So, if there are elections, who is going to hold those elections? If he doesn't have confidence in the institution of election commission, what's going to happen? Maybe if Dr. Hussain, if you can throw some light on that, because that's an important point that's perhaps missing from this entire narrative.
Thank you. And I think that's very relevant question as well. You see, what has happened in the past couple of weeks is there is a very low approval rate of the institutions at the moment, be it the judiciary, be it the election commission, be it other institutions. which have acted in a particular way which may not have pleased. I mean, I'll give you one example. Back in the 2016 and 17, when the Panama scandal was happening, the judiciary gave a particular verdict against the ex-Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. So it came under a lot of criticism. It came under a lot of fire from a particular group of political segment, the PML-N and the PPP. Uh, the same thing is happening right now with the Supreme Court not giving a favorable verdict in favor of the PTI. It has come under fire. What really has happened in the past couple of years, and since probably Chaudhry Iftikhar's time, the judiciary is now very much tainted, and so is the Election Commission of Pakistan, and so are other lot of many institutions that are part of this entire election and the political cycle. Now, the issue is with the ex Prime Minister Imran Khan is that he does not want to go into the elections with an ECP. So it's not the ECP as an institution, but the chairman of the ECP that he has a particular issue with, who he tends to believe is not uh, objective. Now, that is a particular party position that they have, and with the political party that does not provide its trust in the chairman ECP, then there is a deadlock, because that any prospects of elections or any results then may actually be controversial. So that is, I think,
Right.
where they're demanding to remove the chairman ECP and then have a new setup, and that can then conduct elections, because of what they believe that they have been who has been kind of compromised in many ways. Whether
Right.
this is true is not, that's a separate debate. That is what their party feeling is at the moment.
But before we take it further, would like to play that soundbite of Imran Khan where he has given a call to the people to come to Islamabad, uh, really demanding elections. If you can play that soundbite.
हमने सारे पाकिस्तान, ये मैं तहरीक इंसाफ को कॉल नहीं दे रहा, मैं अपने सारे पाकिस्तानियों को कॉल दे रहा हूं, बल्कि मैं नून लीग और पीपल्स पार्टी के लोगों को जो इस मुल्क में आजादी चाहते हैं, जिनको पता नहीं कि कितनी बड़ी साजिश हुई है, मैं उनको भी आज पैगाम दे रहा हूं कि आपने सबने तैयारी करनी है। गली गली, मोहल्ले मोहल्ले, शहरों में, गांव में आपने सबने तैयारी करनी है, आज से शुरू करनी है। आपने मेरी कॉल की इंतजार करनी है जब मैं आप सबको इस्लामाबाद बुलाऊंगा।
So that was Imran Khan really uh, asking the people, asking his supporters uh, to go to Islamabad whenever he gives that call. Uh, Imtiaz Sahab, is it just a pressure tactics, or he really means it? He's really working towards that, or he's just generating pressure to the establishments, to other institutions, to press for his demand?
I think Imran Khan is breaking the system. He is not accepting any constitutional or parliamentarian limitations on his conduct. I think Imran Khan is ideally aiming at bringing a constitutional breakdown. It has happened in the past 2 weeks. We have seen how the constitution was flouted by his party and his people occupying constitutional office, from president to speaker and deputy speaker and a governor of Punjab. So they are not following any rules of business. So what Imran Khan is doing, as opposed to 12 parties, and it's a very, very broad-based coalition, 12 parties from all 4 provinces. So it will be a match between him and all the parties together. And at the same time, he is coming in confrontation with the institutions. For example, Election Commission of Pakistan, or the chief of the Election Commission, was praised by Imran Khan, was nominated by him. And we have a very typical bipartisan procedure of nominating members of Election Commission and also judiciary, which is impossible now that these two parties in the opposition and the government will agree. You see, there are 2 seats lying vacant that cannot be filled. Even if Chief Election Commissioner resigns, there will not be agreement on any Chief Election Commissioner between these two opposite camps. So what I see is that Imran Khan is playing a game, either he or nothing else. neither
Right.
constitution
Right.
nor political system. From
Right.
his point of view, if he is not in the system, so he is ready to disrupt the system. And here we
Right.
can see his conduct. Here we can see his conduct, that how he has been continuously flouting the constitution or not following constitutional demands. He continues to fight it out. He
Right.
will continue
Uh,
to create crisis and expand crisis till the
right.
time he achieves his objectives.
Well,
I am
yeah.
afraid that we might end up in the constitutional breakdown, and army may intervene.
Well, that's the point would like to ask Commodore Uday Bhaskar. If there is a constitutional breakdown in Pakistan, if there is instability, what does it imply for India?
The implications for India, I think, are structural, meaning that as a neighbor, an important neighbor, a neighbor with whom India has had an adversarial relationship for a very long time, any kind of extended, continued instability, especially in the manner that Mr. Imran Khan has been reaching out not only to his party but to the people of Pakistan, would be cause for concern. And there are a number of reasons, I think, when we talk about Pakistan, it's not just a neighbor. It also is a neighbor which has certain distinctive characteristics. And towards the end of the preceding round of comments, I noticed that the word army came in at the very end when Mr. Imtiaz Alam spoke about the possibility that if there is indeed a constitutional breakdown, as is being suggested, and that the probability seems reasonably high, then clearly I think the most effective actor in Pakistan for decades, I mean, going back frankly to the Ayub Khan era to where we are now, the army has been a very effective actor, sometimes visibly, sometimes perhaps not so visibly. And I think from the Indian perspective, there would be a lot of interest, and this would be monitored very carefully, as to how the army is going to orient itself. Given the fact that Mr. Imran Khan was also somebody who had been quote unquote identified by the Pakistani army, the GHQ, to occupy the chair that he did as the Prime Minister of Pakistan. So that's my immediate response, that instability in Pakistan is not a desirable condition.
Well,
As far as India is concerned, I would say the whole region is concerned. I'm sure other neighbors of Pakistan would also be monitoring the situation.
Commodore Uday Bhaskar, Army DG ISPR, as it's called in Pakistan, has given a press conference recently and has been saying that in the past also that Army is not connected to politics at the moment. He has, however, said that there was a foreign intervention and not a conspiracy, foreign interference, perhaps. Uh, uh, Imtiaz Saab, do you think that it could perhaps head towards that direction where, in the end, if there is a lot of instability, that army could perhaps step in?
You see that we should know two or three things. One, that this is the 14th year of civilian transition from Musharraf's military rule. This is the longest period of civilian rule in Pakistan's history. Number two, we should note that there was a hybrid system installed in 1988, in 1998, in 2000, sorry, 18, which has crumbled because of its internal contradictions. In this system, there is a conflict inherent between the Chief of Army Staff and the Prime Minister. And even though they brought Imran Khan and he was called a selected Prime Minister, still there were conflicts. So finally, army was under pressure to keep away from supporting out of the way to Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan. And when that support was withdrawn, Imran Khan's government, which was a minority government, crumbled. But this is the only reason for his ouster. that the support he was getting from now the army is saying keeping equal distance from political parties. They say, okay, you politicians sort out your problems. We have got nothing to do with this. At the same time, we have seen that for the first time in Pakistan's history, a democratic transition has taken place through a vote of no confidence in the parliament, despite troubles created by Imran Khan and his party men. So these are some of the signs of maturity of this transition. I really doubt that army will be taking over. Army might be intervening to keep the law and order in a limited in a safe limit, but there are no conditions for the army to intervene or to take over at this juncture. But what I was had referred to was in my previous uh, portion of discussion that Imran Khan is trying his best, that either he or nothing, and he's intent upon his role is like Trump. He's a mini Trump of Pakistan, and like Trump did, he is behaving almost similarly. But he is the only populist leader at the moment in Pakistan who has captured the what doctor what our what people call here master narrative. Master narrative is of middle class, which Imran Khan has captured, and that's why he is posing such a huge threat to the combined coalition government led by Mr. Shehbaz Sharif. So I see that
They have a
it
very
won't be
slim.
easy. Sorry,
They have a very slim. They have a very slim majority. Just a
that's
few
uh,
seats.
you see that
You know,
this is
they also are not very comfortably placed as far as numbers are
yes,
concerned. The
that's
new
right.
government.
That's right. It's a fragile coalition, but you
Yeah.
see that it won't fall with the defection of one or two allies. Why? Because uh, the PTI has resigned, and which is still to be decided by the Election Commission of Pakistan.
Right. Right.
But you see that keeping together in front of because Imran is confronting everybody. He is confronting JUI of Maulana Fazlur Rahman in KP, the PML-N in Punjab, the PPP in Sindh, and MQM in Karachi. So Tehreek-e-Insaf is in fight with everybody. So that keeps
Right.
these parties together. I
Right.
do agree that this is a fragile coalition.
Right.
It can fall. It can even fall because of the mass resignations which are in the hand of Imran Khan.
Right.
He has announced the resignations of 123 members of National Assembly, but
Yes.
they have
Yes.
still not reached the Election Commission of Pakistan,
Yes. Yes.
and
Doctor.
almost
Yeah.
20, 30 or 40 will be refusing that this is their resignation. So
Right.
if this government has a his master's opposition, they can
Uh,
elect one leader of the opposition from the people
well.
who will be defecting PTI or
Well.
other small
Well,
parties.
well, it remains to be seen what happens. But Dr. Hussain Nadim, the opposition at that point in time, when Imran Khan was the prime minister, was calling him as the selected prime minister. But he has coined the term imported hukumat na manzoor, and that's really breaking the records on social media. One cannot clearly lose the sight from that also. But the question that I want to ask you is that there have been incidents of violence in Pakistan. Only yesterday there was this suicide blast in Karachi, in which one suicide bomber, who was a woman, blew herself up, and three Chinese were killed. So that is another, you know, another thing that cannot be ignored as far as Pakistan is concerned. Clearly, the army and the security forces, the establishment, would perhaps be focused more on that at a time when they are under a lot of flack. Some people saying that they had a role, the establishment had a role in the ouster of Imran Khan.
Yeah. So I want to basically start with the responding some of the what has been mentioned over here. I don't personally agree with the framing of this entire fiasco that has happened in the past couple of weeks as somehow part of a democratic maturity or part of a democratic process. And it was anything but democratic. And I think we should not be under any sort of illusion that somehow the two political parties, the dynastic political parties that are absolute anti-democracy, have been anti-democracy since the 80s, since the 90s, since 2000s, that have on record made deals with every single dictator, be it Ziaul Haq Saab, be it General Musharraf Saab. So somehow that they've become democratic now. I don't think that the framing of this entire argument that this is a maturity of democracy is true. Uh, what we have seen recently with political parties, allied party with PTI leaving overnight, somehow does not demonstrate that somehow they became democratic overnight, or the courts opening up at midnight somehow were there because they were there for democracy. I think uh, we all know what it is about. This has happened way too many times in Pakistan's history. Imtiaz probably know much better the 90s politics, the politics after. It is the same script over and over again. The worst part is that it is even with the same actors. The political players have not changed, minus one or two that are new. So that's one important thing. Now, in terms of what is going on with the current crisis in Pakistan, there is, you see, what's happening is that there is a political chaos happening. There is instability, and the entire state machinery, the entire focus in the media is then focused in a particular direction. At the same time, we have Afghanistan, which is undergoing a lot of crisis at the moment. We're having a lot of trouble on the borderlands over there. And at the same time, we have this post Kabul, fall of Kabul, the new wave of terrorism inside of Pakistan, be it TTP and the BLA, which has now become more professionalized because it is projecting itself a lot more. These things are part and parcel the byproducts of political chaos and political instability. You cannot divorce these two things from each other. And if you're going to continue to see this continuation of political breakdown, the inability to govern, I mean, we don't appreciate it in its true extent. But the current government is going to soon very much recognize that the to govern in the digital age where social media is defining new rules, the social media is defining new trends and new ideologies, it is almost impossible to govern. And that is one of the biggest challenges that PTI government was also facing, because
Right.
there is not even a consensus on the economic numbers. On one end, one newspaper is saying that the economy is going up, the other newspaper is saying that the economy is going down. And just one or
Correct.
2 weeks within this
Correct.
government, the same thing is happening, that there is no consensus on whether the economy is improving or whether it is declining.
Right.
So there are
Right.
certain hard facts which has the change in technology and change in digital media, which is continuing to create problems for any government, be it PMLN, be it PTI, be it anyone else. So that one problem is there. And when that kind of juxtapose with this whole terrorist movement, you look at BLA right now. The BLA has completely transformed itself. It has very skillfully integrated ground violence with online disinformation. The person, the female suicide bomber that actually went and did something, just minutes before she conducted the attack, she tweeted farewell. Now, this is unprecedented. And these things are now integrating, which is creating more and more problem for the government and the security forces to now
Correct.
do a crackdown. So for a conclusion, Pakistan has some real challenges. Those are governance challenges. Any of these political parties have a solution? I'm afraid not. That's if they've all had their chances, they've all tried it, it's impossible. And now why is that happening? Because it's not that somehow People's Party had a bad philosophy of governance, or PMLN has a bad philosophy. The simple rule over here is that if you look at the manifestos of PPP, PTI, PMLN, they are more or less the same. There isn't much of a difference in their manifestos. What
Yeah.
is actually the real problem over here is that you don't allow a particular government to completely
It
implement what it started. So you
right.
can't possibly have a fruit of economic reforms if you continue to change the governments every 3 4 years. Whether it's an
Right.
export-led government model or an import-led, you allow one system to continue. The problem is that is not happening, and I think that political
Yes,
instability is going to continue to go on. So, if
yes.
anything, I don't personally see this as a democratic maturity or a transition.
Yes, yes. Commodore Uday Bhaskar, one important angle that I would like to focus on the question of Afghanistan. There were reports that Pakistan conducted airstrikes in Afghanistan recently. Uh, the entire fall of Kabul, and there were some reports that that's the time when differences started to emerge between Pakistani military establishment and the political dispensation at that point in time. What does all of it, the larger picture, mean for the entire subcontinent, India included?
It is, I would say, a rather bleak augury because, as I was trying to suggest earlier, any instability in the region, whether it's in Pakistan or in Afghanistan, is undesirable. I mean, that's a normative statement. For any country, whether you're Pakistan or Afghanistan or India or Bangladesh, instability in the proximate neighborhood is not desirable. Now, in relation to Afghanistan and what is happening within Afghanistan, comes with the cross of history. Now, you can disaggregate Afghanistan's history at many levels, but I think if we look at it in its most recent manifestation, which is after the US withdrawal from Kabul in August last year to where we are now, the emergence or the return of the Taliban has been seen with different levels of anxiety in different parts of the region. Some have welcomed it, some have been dismayed, and we are aware of how India has looked at the Taliban as an entity. At this point in time, I think India has repeatedly been alerting its own citizens about the possibility that certain forms of terrorism or ideology might impact India's own internal security. So, to that extent, I think whatever be the nature of the turbulence within Afghanistan and whatever be the discord, as we now see it, between the regime in Kabul and with the Pakistani military in particular, is cause again for concern within this larger template of what instability means, both regionally and domestically.
Yes, one last word to you, Imtiaz Alam, and then also quickly, Dr. Hussain Nadim. The media in Pakistan, it seems to be completely divided. There are some media outlets which are supporting Imran Khan and some which are totally opposite of Imran Khan. How is it working?
As it is working in India.
No, but here is the differences are
In
very
US,
sharp.
you
They are
see,
clear position. They are clear position
my
taken
dear,
by media
my dear,
outlets.
this is a very noble wish that media remains neutral. Uh, and the kind of media I witness on television here, the Indian media, sometimes I feel that I should be quitting the profession. And also in Pakistan, we are not much behind. So, but there are some interesting somersaults. Those who are very much uh, supporting Imran Khan's everything, every move, have are gradually becoming very critical.
Uh,
And those who were critical about Imran Khan now trying to distance from the new government. So
right.
they are not bracketed as kind of what they blame the PTI
No, no.
campaigners, the
Why?
Lifafa
Why?
journalists.
Why I asked this question, basically, Dr. Hussain Nadim, is that I was hearing Imran Khan just a short while ago. He was perhaps addressing his party workers. He named a particular news channel and he said that uh, he applauded that new channel. He said four other channels will follow and they will also, you know, support his point of view. And he called up on liberals that where are they? That's why I asked this question. You raised the point of social media and the importance of social media in today's time, but the legacy media that seems to be sharply divided in Pakistan.
I think Imtiaz probably is much better versed in how the media works and all. I've only spent about 2 years in a media house, and I didn't want to be there ever again, because I do understand how the electronic media industry in Pakistan works, the political economy of the electronic media, and how it survives the government ads, the political leanings as an aspect of power. I mean, I think we underestimate it. If you just look at the ownership of many of these media houses, many of them, minus one or two, are not really professional media journalists or those that have an experience over there. Somebody owns a bakery, somebody's
Right.
political leader, and all of that. So it the media is an aspect of power then, and in many ways, I think that starts to change, take sides during the process. I mean, you have media officials and journalists that have been part of the PTI's political party. I mean, openly they would be at their jalsas and at their dharnas. So that was there. And then you also have on the other side
Right.
as well, media officials that are dining
But
and eating and then on very
but
close touch
but
with. So that question has become very, very critical, that media, unfortunately, uh, has taken a political side in Pakistan. And there are very few people that you would say would be somewhere in the middle.
media is an important element in all of this that cannot be ignored, as it's perhaps a case study for somebody to do research about media in Pakistan at the moment when there is this political crisis. On that very note, I have to wrap up this show. Thanks to all our panelists for joining us, and thanks to our viewers. That's all we have in today's show. Thanks for watching.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.